Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Jensine, aka Jungle Naps. Now for today's video, I thought we would do something really cool and a little bit unusual for my channel. I was really inspired by this awesome look from Alexandra Anel on Instagram. If you follow her, she does some amazing campaign looks for Pat McGrath for the eyeshadow palettes. And I'm just gonna show you this beautiful, stunning picture. I am just so blown away by her artwork, and she always manages to come up with some really unusual looks. I've been really inspired by a lot of her looks for the Mothership 5 palette, which is a freaking gorgeous palette. And I just thought, you know what? I love this look right here, and I want to see if I can recreate that with some different products. I do just kind of want to show you guys what her Instagram page looks like, just because, you know, this look is inspired by her. This is her right here, and just some of the looks. She does some gorgeous, gorgeous looks. She's just kills it all the time. So enough about her. We're gonna get started on this look, and this is gonna be very heavily based on the eyes, but I do want to talk about the base because the base is everything, okay?
Because you know I'm all about that base, about that base.
So, as you guys always know, I have combination skin, so I like to use different primers for different areas of the skin. For the mattifying in my T-zone, I'm going to use the Fenty mattifying primer, and it's a great primer if you just want it to be matte, but you don't want your skin to look dry or just kind of like lifeless. I know a lot of those primers that dry out the skin before you apply your foundation really can kind of give like a white cast on them as well, and I really don't like that. So I like primers that apply creamy, easy to work with, and then I can just move on to the next one. So I'm a diehard fan of the Farsali Skin Tune Blur. I mean, I use it all the time. You guys are probably sick about me talking about it, but I want to show you a really, really good trick for this primer. Now, a lot of people complain about the dropper. So if you hold it, squeeze it, right? And then you slowly, very slowly let go of it, then it's gonna suck up a bunch of product. Now, if you try to use it like a regular dropper where you just let go of it really quickly, it's not gonna suck up much. So if you've been having some trouble with that, that's a good way to use the dropper so that you can get the most product out of it. So I'm just applying this very neatly. Sometimes I like to just pat it in as well. I learned this trick from a friend of mine that's really into Korean beauty products. She says that they just tap it in all the time. I'm not perfect. I like forget about it all the time, but it's a really, really great trick for just pressing things into the skin and making sure you're really just, instead of smearing it on there, you're just pushing it into the skin. So, I mean, that's that. Oh, wait, we have one more primer.
Another one.
The Farsali Liquid Glass. So we've got 3 primers in today's cocktail. Now for the liquid glass, I'm just going to use this on my cheeks because I want to give them a little bit of a glow, not much, but this primer is really, really nice for even those no makeup days. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it right under my eyes as well because I want it to just look like really dewy and fresh, because sometimes these under eyes, they just need a little bit of help. So patting that in, and then I just like to let my primer sit for long enough to let my skin absorb instead of just putting on foundation straight away. Or that's what I usually do when I'm not filming. Now, I usually come on here with my brows done, but it's been a long time since I've featured my brows in a makeup video. So I always use Benefit products. It's not a sponsored thing. I just love how natural their products look. And the first one I'm using is the Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 6. So I just kind of brush my brows out. I have a really super thick brows. So for me, it's not a matter of trying to get them to look full because they look too full sometimes. But I like to use the Goof Proof because it allows me to define the bottom part of my brows and helps me fill them in and kind of create the illusion of a straight, more groomed look, because I mean, I do them myself most of the times and they are not groomed in real life or appear super groomed. You know what? I have gotten them done before many times, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm just really picky with who does my brows in general, and I can never seem to find somebody who does it the way that I want it to look, so I end up just doing it myself a lot of the times. And a lot of the times when I have found somebody that does it the way that I like, I end up moving. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't end up being blessed with living in the same area with people who do really great brows. But this is a good start. We're not complete yet, but I'm moving on to the other eye. And the Goof Proof for me is just a really great way to outline the brow. Get that sharp look without looking like I applied too much makeup, just really outlining underneath. And I also like to just apply concealer to the bottom too, because that gives the illusion that it's a cleaner brow look than it actually is in real life. Now, I also, after I've carved out the bottom, kind of bring it upwards, and we're gonna blend it out with the spoolie as well, but this helps kind of fill in any sparseness on the bottom. Now I'm going to take the Precisely My Brow pencil, and I'm going to take this, it's the shade number 6. Now this is where I like to do all the detailed work, and I just fill in all parts of the brow. And I like this pencil because it's a lot more subtle than the Goof Proof. The Goof Proof is really kind of a bold pencil, and if I use it over all of my brows, it will definitely give it a harsher look than I want it to be, because I want it to look kind of natural. So I know it might seem like a lot, but having these two products, they just have different purposes, and they give me a much more natural look instead of a dark Instagram or kind of angry brow look. So now that the brows are filled in and they're not perfect, then that's okay. I like that I'm just following the natural shape of my brows. I'm gonna use this brow gel. It's the 24-hour brow setter, and I think this is just the clear shade because there's no shade name on them. Now I like this particular gel because I've tried a lot of other ones like the Anastasia Beverly Hills, and sometimes when you apply them, they can take off a lot of the product, the brow product that you applied on there, like the pencil and stuff, and take away some of that hard work that you put in. So I just kind of brush it the way that I want it to go, and I kind of brush the front hairs up and brush the top back here, and that gives me a nice brow look, and I do the same to the other eye. Now, of course, to finish this off and make the brows look more complete, I'm going to take my Maybelline Age Rewind concealer, and this is the shade Tan. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and take an angled brush right here, and I'm gonna dip it onto the sponge, try and get enough product on here so that I can carve out the lower part. So I've got a nice amount of product, and I'm just going to be very gentle and come right up on here and really give this a nice, sharp, defined look. Now, what I do here, even though it looks really nice, I take my finger and I just kind of blend it out. There's something about using your finger to blend out makeup that can really make it look like it's melted into your skin. And that's what I like about the effect here. So you can see how much nicer it looks on this side versus this side. It just kind of looks undone. You see what I mean? So that's how I do my brows. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this eye, and then we can move on to the actual eye makeup look. Okay, so let's take a look at this eye look again. It kind of looks like on this part she uses a mauve-y transition, so that's what I'm gonna go for. But before we do that, I definitely want to apply my P. Louise eyeshadow base. This is Rumor number 5. And basically I'm going to grab my mirror here and I'm applying it with a flat brush and looking down and just smearing it on. But once I have a good base, I'm gonna tap it in, and they say that the tapping motion is used to set it. So that's what's really gonna give you that nice finish. However, I just wanna say this, since I have hooded eyes, I'm not gonna not talk about the fact that I have to set the part of my eyes that crease. It's just I've never been able to find a primer that doesn't settle in when I don't do that. So it's just fine. Now a little bit of this goes a long way. You don't need very much. I'm just taking little bits at the time, and I'm basically bringing it up here kind of towards my brow to blend it in with the concealer. So now that I've got that nice base, I'm gonna go ahead and tap to really set that. And then I also kind of like to finish off with my finger and tap that as well. And then without looking up, I'm going to set that. And I'm using my Beauty Bakery setting powder with a nice blending brush and just dusting this over the area of my eye that is creased where that hooded part is. All right, so I brought this just a tad bit closer so that you guys can really see what's going on in the eye area. And for that transition shade that we talked about, I'm going to go into the ColourPop Bye Bye Birdie palette. And I'm gonna pick this nice shade called Boo Bird. It looks really light here, but it's actually a nice, soft, pinky mauve color. So I'm going to use that same brush that I dipped in to set the base, and I'm going to tap it on. And it's a really nice, like I said, mauve-y pink shade, almost like a dusty rose. And I'm going to tap it on here before I start the windshield wiper motions to blend it out. So just really putting it on there. And this is the thing that I really love about this base. You can just apply the shade and it will stick so well. Like I could just not blend it out later, but you know, I gotta blend it out. Can't just leave it, but it still looks nice is what I'm trying to say. So now that I have enough on there, I'm gonna really go in and blend this out. Now this shade does have some shimmer in it, so you might see that on here, but it's okay. You know, we're gonna add a lot of other shades, so that'll probably end up getting lost in the midst of it, you know, but this blends out so nice. Those ColourPop shadows, you guys, honestly, people sleep on them. They are so nice. And also don't forget to bring that shadow down towards your inner corner to really make this a complete eye look. Now, taking a look at this photo again, this is a halo eye look. So she takes some darker burgundy colors on the side, and that's what I'm gonna start to build up with that. Now, I'm gonna be all over the place with my palettes because I need to find similar shades. So this is the It's My Ray Ray #2 palette, and I'm gonna go in with this one right here. It's called Flare. And then I'm going to use the Morphe M506. It's kind of like a pencil brush or a smaller detailed brush. And I'm just going to tap in that color and we're going to blend it out. But first we're going to be tapping it in, and I'm going to bring it above my crease because hooded eye life. And we really want this to come through and show when my eyes are open. So now that I have the shape outlined, I'm going to take this brush and just blend out this top part to give it a nice transition between the top transition color and this first color. We're still going to add a bit more, so we're just kind of getting that base part. So at the end here, I'm going to take it and push it in. I'm not going to blend it out towards this section because I don't want this to be super winged out. I want to keep that nice halo shape. Now, on the bottom part of the outer corner, I'm going to do circular motions to blend this out. And this is when I have to raise my eyebrow to really make sure I get it in that crease. And this concentrates the color in this area without winging it out or making it look like an outer V kind of shape on the eye. Now I'm gonna wipe the excess color off of my M506. So now that it has almost no color on here, now I can come and blend out this. And I'm just gonna push it out just a little bit to give it softer edges. And my goal here is that I don't want to deposit more color. I just want to kind of blend the outer part to give it like a softer look. Because if I added color, if more was left on the brush, it would look whack, okay? But now you can see it looks nice and soft, which is just how I like it. So we're not done yet with this halo part. We still want to deepen that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this same palette, and this is the shade Cacao. And if you look on the picture, it kind of deepens at the bottom of both the inner and the outer. So that's where I'm gonna apply this. Actually, I'm gonna mix Cacao and Flare so that I get a burgundy brown look. So again, applying it, and we're just gonna stick towards the bottom of the eye. Not too much, just really, really light. And make sure that you kind of push it inward if you're applying it on the outer part of the lid. Beautiful, huh? So now I'm going to just make sure I get the excess color off before I use it to blend. Now you could definitely use another blending brush that's this same size, but I don't have another one right now. And I'm trying not to dirty all of the beautiful clean brushes that I have. So now that it has just almost no color, I'm just going to blend the burgundy and the brown together so that it's not like you see a line of demarcation or anything like that. It just looks nice and blended. So now you see the center part here. This is what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be slightly different from Alex's look. I'm gonna take this sparkling liquid eyeshadow, and this is in the color Champagne, because I really want that middle part to pop. And you know what? Instead of applying it with the applicator, I wanna have a more controlled application. So I'm gonna take this flat brush and I'm going to brush it on to here. And then I'm going to apply it because we want it to still be a thin layer. So while this liquid part is still wet, I'm not gonna look up. I am gonna go into my Natasha Denona Metropolis palette, and I'm gonna go into Orium. And I'm going to take it on the flat brush, that same flat brush, and I'm gonna wet it. And then I'm going to use nice light tapping motions to really give it a nice sparkle. So even though it's really nice right now, I still feel like it needs a little bit of fine tuning. So I'm gonna take my brush, I'm gonna go into an even deeper brown shade, and this is in the Metropolis palette. And I'm gonna go into Azoic, and this is more of a cream brown color in this palette. It's not so much powdery. And I'm just gonna come here right on the edges here and use this to blend it out, but I'm gonna stay pretty low to the lash line. And this is really, really, really nice. I just love the dimension in here. And I don't do halo eyes often, but they really, really do look really beautiful. So I'm gonna finish up the other eye and then we can get started on the base. All right, so now the other eye is finished and I'm going to apply some of this Bite Beauty, the Change Maker foundation. And I've really honestly still been loving it. It's a great foundation. The shade match is pretty nice for me and it's got pretty great coverage. I mean, it's probably buildable and stops at about medium, but it's really, really nice. Feels nice on the skin. It doesn't feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup. Do you know what I mean? So see, when I apply that, it looks really nice. It's not a super matte foundation if that's something that you're looking for, but it's still skin-like or satin finish is what I would say. And you know what? As much as I like applying it with my beauty blender initially, I almost forgot that I really like applying it with the brush just because it's so much quicker. I don't know about you guys, but I just can't stand taking forever to apply foundation. It's gotta be like really, really quick. So the brush is like my friend, especially in the mornings when you're like trying to get ready, you're in a rush, you know? And the best part is this just sinks into the skin. It looks so natural while covering up any uneven skin tone, any pigmentation. As you guys can see, I had that little pigmentation up there, covered it. It's like barely noticeable now. And now I'm ready to go ahead and pounce this into the skin just to give it a more natural finish. Make sure it doesn't look like it's sitting on top of the skin. And the best part is you don't have to use very much for this. Now I am gonna go in with one of my favorite concealers, the Age Rewind, the one that I used for my brows. And this little sponge tip, it's almost expiring. Like it is on its last legs, you guys. But I'm still rocking with it. It's a really great concealer despite the applicator. So now I'm just going to apply some. Like so. And these days I like to apply just a couple different concealers. So this one is gonna be right near under eye to give it that brightening effect. Adding a little bit more. You see what I mean by the fact that it's expiring? It doesn't have much more life in it, but that's okay. We're gonna make this work. Okay, so this is the kind of coverage that I'm going for. And then I'm gonna take a darker concealer and go right around here. Okay, so now I've got my Tarte Shape Tape, and then this isn't dark by much, but it's still a darker concealer, and applying it right here. And this one has just a little bit more coverage, and it's gonna blend a little bit more into my foundation. And the reason I like doing this technique, which I learned from Miss Jackie, because it gives you more coverage on the under eyes, and because my under eyes, they look like I don't get much sleep, which is true. So I need any little help I can get when I am applying makeup, and I really want it to look flawless. So I'm just pushing that into the skin. Now, before we move on to setting, I am going to take my Maybelline concealer and highlight my forehead and bring it down here and here and here. Now, to set, I'm going to use the Beauty Bakery setting powder, and it's in the color Plantain. If you're Haitian, plantain, you know what I mean. Love me some good plantain. Anyway, I'm gonna use it in this little cap right here. And this setting powder has got a lot of pigment to it, which I can see is probably the reason why so many people like it. Now I need to go light and I can build it up. So I'm gonna just take this, dust it, kind of pack it in there. It really does give you that like brightening, but it melts into the skin at the same time. I'm gonna make sure to get right in there at the side of my nose because that is where it gets so oily. And the same to the other eye, I just tap it really to like push that powder in. And now we do the same thing for the forehead. And it provides just a little bit more coverage, and I can see like it makes some of my texture on my forehead appear less visible, which I ain't mad at. So I am gonna use this awesome contouring stick. This is Fenty Beauty Espresso. And I'm just going to apply some to the back of my hand, heat this up, and apply it in all the normal areas. And I can't forget here, trying to like define that jawline, give me a little snatched look. And my all-time favorite contour brush is the Real Techniques brush. It really is just the simplest contouring brush, blends it out so nicely, and it's from the drugstore. So you know what? You can't complain because that's a great bargain. And I'm just going to push this on my forehead back in here so that it doesn't ruin my awesome setting powder that I've applied. And if you ever apply too much, you can just take your sponge and honestly just go over that. That's the best part about a beauty sponge, is it will soak up product. And it will just make it look like you didn't mess up and add too much. So I love that. Now I'm gonna go over that with the bronzer. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills in the shade Mahogany. If you don't have this, you are sleeping on it because it's a really awesome bronzer. And I'm taking, this is my favorite brush, the Cheek Hugger brush. And I like to start on the jawline because that way if I use too much or I apply too much onto the brush, it's a little bit more forgiving on the jawline. And then I'm just going to take a minimal amount and apply it right here. I don't like to go too heavy on my contour on my cheek area. I just like it to look glam, but like a natural glam. You know, we don't want to look too wild. And then I'm also going to carve that out with my setting powder from Beauty Bakery. And I'm just going to apply it like so. And you almost want it to like not look too like crazy. Leave it there for just a short amount of time. I'm gonna apply it on this side as well. And that's good enough. And then I just take my setting powder brush, dust off the excess. Now the one problem I usually have is sometimes it will look too highlighted. And there is a really nice fix to that. So here is where I usually take my all over setting powder or one that's just a shade darker than me. And I'm using the Fenty Nutmeg shade, and I use this powder brush from Real Techniques, one of my all-time favorites. Tap off any excess. And then I just go in on this bottom part to smooth it out and really make it like not so sharp of a contrast. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the bottom part of the eye. So I'm gonna go back into my It's My Ray Ray palette, and I'm taking a smudging brush and I'm dipping that into Flare. And I'm following this halo outline on the bottom. So I'm applying this to the outer, and I wanna connect it to this right here, the top lid. Bring it in, and then I'm going to apply it to the inner corner as well. So I'm not worried about like being too neat because in the picture you can definitely see that she's got a sizable amount of eyeshadow on the bottom. Now on the middle portion, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take a different smudge brush, and I've got it right here, and I'm going to apply it to the middle portion. Now I did wet this, so I do want it to like really pop. And this looks super gorgeous. Now I'm gonna repeat that on the other side, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna deepen this with a little bit of brown. Okay, so I finished up this eye. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of this brown right down here from Natasha Denona. I'm gonna gently dip it in, and I'm just going to ever so slightly deepen this just a little bit. It's just going to add just a bit more dimension. I'm not trying to make it like a dark smoky vibe, but I am trying to just give it a little bit more color and a little bit more simpler to Alex's look. And isn't that cute? So we definitely need to pop on some dramatic lashes to make this look like really come alive. Okay, so I've added one lash already. And I mean, just look at the difference between how much this look pops with the lash and without. So I've got my other lash on here, and this is the Lily lash in the Miami style. And I just cut it and I trimmed the lashes just a little bit to customize it a little bit for my eye. And I'm just gonna blow on this little lash glue so that it'll dry just a bit more. And then this is the trick to applying lashes. You get a little mirror, okay? You place it down here, you look down, and then you apply the lash with tweezers. I find to be the most easy. Hold it there for like a second, 2, 3, maybe 3 seconds. Let go, and then I like to apply the end, so the outer edge of the lash. And it's stuck to my real lashes. So if it's stuck to your real lashes, just pull it off and then bring it back down. Sometimes you really never know how easy it's going to be, but I kind of push it into the skin and then let that go. So now we need to come back and fix the inner corner, and I like to hold it there for like 3 seconds to make sure it really sticks. And then there you go. So as a last kind of check, I like to take the lash and then go in between the fake lash and my real lashes and just kind of press them together so that as it's drying, it just kind of doesn't dry above my lash. It kind of like is really, really like sitting on top of my actual lash. So I love this. These lashes are super, super, super glam. So now it's time for some blush. Now I'm gonna go back for one of my favorites, and I'm going into the Saharan Blush Volume 1 in Neo. Neo is like my ride or die shade. Be very, very gentle with this and just lightly apply it because it's so pigmented. If you're not careful, you can really overdo it. And I'm just pushing this right back into my hairline. I'm just kind of bringing it all the way back. Now I'm going to spritz my whole face down with my Vitamin Nectar water. And now that I've got this skin like glow on me, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild All Glown Up highlight. And I haven't used this in such a long time, but it's such a great affordable highlight. So I'm going to take my highlighting brush, gently dip it in. I mean, really, like, you get a lot of pigment on there. Like, look at this. Bling, okay? Bling out. And I'm just gonna go back and blend that in. And it gives the skin such a beautiful glow. If you want a lot of like bang for your buck, this is a really great highlighter, and it's from the drugstore, so you know, you can't go wrong. It's got a beautiful like rose goldness to it, which I love. Okay, so for lips, we're gonna go like really like dark and vampy. I'm gonna go in with Bite Beauty, and this color, it's called Midnight Rye. I'm wearing my contacts, and I swear that was like the hardest thing I ever read. It was in such small print. Can't you see? Can't you see? But it's a beautiful dark vampy color. You know what? I have to say, I'm really, really feeling this. I definitely wish I had a liner that was as dark as I would like it to be, just to outline my lips, but I'm really, really happy with this. I usually don't wear like lips this dark, you know? So I really hope you guys enjoyed this look. This was a bit more on the dramatic side for me, but I really like it. The eyes turned out bomb.com. Definitely check out Alex's Instagram page. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to take a look at her work. Don't forget to check out some of the videos right next to me. If you'd like to chill with me some more, I hope you do. I love you guys. Thank you so much for kicking it with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.